Hello and welcome to today's tip, which is all about inbox zero. Now, hands up, who's got a crazy inbox? I try not to have a crazy inbox. Actually, I'm a massive fan of inbox zero. But do you know what? Sometimes it happens. And I think everyone at the moment, they've just gone through Christmas. They've just had the kids at home for a year. Thanks, COVID. And I think a lot of people are kind of got behind on the whole admin thing. And yeah, I find that inboxes full of stuff and piling up to-do lists do actually affect us in here when there's already high anxiety, risk of depression for people who are out of their normal routines and things like that. Adding on this noise and this mess with messy inboxes is something that I am definitely trying to avoid. Now, I'm so excited today. Hi, Yaro. We've got Yaro here. How are you?
Hi, Sarah. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
All the way from Montreal, and I'm in Western Australia today. We actually met 5 years ago in San Diego at the Thrive Make Money Matter event. So we were just saying, I can't believe 5 years has already gone past.
I'm glad you have a daughter to keep track of how many years passes, because I would not remember otherwise.
Absolutely insane how quickly time's gone. Now, I'm really excited because today we're just going to have a bit of a chat about Inbox Zero. Now, for everyone who doesn't know Yaro, he's the co-founder of Inbox Done, which is a service that helps entrepreneurs, business owners, and organizations keep that inbox clear, basically responded to without you having to go in and repeat yourself every day and deal with those customer queries, questions. And I'm sure, Yaro, you'll tell us a bit more about that in a second. So come on, tell us why is it that you've literally dedicated your entire business to helping people manage their inbox? Yeah. Why is this so important?
Well, I mean, like probably most people watching here, I had a small business. Like the first time I experienced this was being a victim of too much email. So I had my first, actually, I call it my first real business online. It was an online editing and proofreading company. And I was going for that Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week kind of vibe where you could have a lot of free time, travel, do all that. And this was before Tim even wrote his book. So I was just, there was nothing to really study or learn about. Mm-hmm. And I just did the usual look at my time and how I was spending it. And I noticed email was really the main constraint. It was the thing I spent most of my time on. It's a bit like a virtual to-do list. Whatever came in the inbox was what I had to do that day. I sort of worked through those. So really to experience that type of freedom, I knew I had to hire someone to do email. Now back then, I just literally thought, who of my friends could I possibly offer work to? And it was a university friend at the time, and she was about to have her first child. And I said, listen, do you want a work from home job? And I don't know if it'll work. I have never handed my email over to someone else, but we did an experiment, and within about a month, she was handling about 95% of the emails that would come to my business, and even everything really. So it was a breakthrough moment, and I'll be honest, that experience made me think this is something other people probably need. But obviously, I was running that business, and then I got into the blogging and information marketing world. I had someone or multiple people at some points handling email, but I always thought in the back of my head, this is clearly something that more people need. And it is amazing how many times you speak to a business owner who's successful and they say, I'm drowning in email. It's like a byproduct of being successful.
Mm-hmm. I can so relate to that, and I've always been a fan of finding smarter people than me, or people that love doing the stuff that I hate doing. And I've hired staff and contractors for many years, but one of the things that I had never handed over was my email inbox, because being a business owner, I kind of had this thing in my head where it's like, well, only I am going to be able to answer that question. Only I am going to be able to respond to this particular request. Only I can deal with X, Y, and Z type of issues. And I did a similar thing. I started getting really into systemization, automation, and realized quite quickly that there's actually nothing that we can't teach people how to do. I think sometimes it's quite obnoxious of us to think that only we can respond to a particular question. For me, the biggest challenge was because I provide services. So my services are, I help people create online courses. And at one point in time, I was running that in a really customized way. So I sort of, every project would be tailored to what that particular customer needed. And so I kind of had put myself in a situation where only I could kind of work out the costing for giving quotes, and that's in my email inbox at the time. That was what a lot was filling it up with. Can I have a quote for X, Y, and Z? And every single cake looked different that we had to bake, basically. And so then I thought, well, if I do think of it like baking cakes, you know, you can have muffins, you can have chocolate cakes, you can have flapjacks. Yeah, I kind of looked at it like that. There's still going to be a process as to, well, how much are oats? How much is honey? How much is sugar? How much is icing? How much, you know, how much do I have to pay the person who mixes it? How much is it to cost me to run the oven? And I thought, surely I can systemize this so that I can hand over people doing my quoting and responding to these inquiries. And so I literally sat down and I kind of wrote down 3 packages and then was able to cost that out and break it down like a menu. So you imagine your starters and your main courses and your desserts. I literally broke down everything that we did as part of a course creation process and let people in the quote process choose what bits they wanted, like a pick and mix salad bar, you know, and each of that was priced out behind the scenes. So then I could hand that over. I had my baby, my second baby, just under a year ago now. And for me, that's when I said to myself, I need to now hand this over. Like, I need to give my inbox to somebody else, because I realized, like you say, with only a few hours a day with my newborn baby I had available, I was spending all those hours just replying to emails and not actually doing any income generating work. And I thought, if I keep this up, I won't have a business anymore, because I'm the one that's creating the content. I'm the expert. I'm the only one that can actually do the videos and the calls. So that's when I found my very own fairy godmother who's managing my email inbox now. And I tell you what, I would never look back. So like hiring organizations like yourselves or staff to do these things, it has changed my life and enabled me to take on a lot more students. So for me, obviously, that was one of the things that helped me, was creating those systems. Yeah. You know, what tips do you have for business owners and entrepreneurs about where do you even begin? Like, let's say, I've seen some people screenshotting in my group like 13,000 unread messages in their inbox.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd actually love to reverse the question back to you first before I answer that. I'm curious, you went through the process of handing over your email pretty recently. Maybe you can even remember what was the hardest part, or what was the hesitation or the challenge you found? Because I know I had it the first time. I had the fear of trusting someone. I didn't know whether they could be me, like you said, whether they'd have the knowledge and the skill set. I love that you talk about turning services into products, because I think doing this process of learning how to optimize and systematize a business forces you to go, yeah, there are some areas here where I could simplify, and then that allows me to delegate. So if I can turn complex services that are bespoke and all over the place with quotes and, you know, back and forth with potential clients, to there's option A, B, and C. And then when you've done that, you can bring on a team and say, listen, we only sell A, B, and C. I can teach you how to close the deals, and you can actually have your team making money for you while you're doing, like you said, other activities to grow your business. So I love the process that this kicks off. But I'm sure you went through some fears handing over email. So before I give email tips, how was it like for you?
Do you know what? I actually wasn't scared at all. I couldn't wait.
Okay.
I was like, hang on a minute. You want to do my emails for me? She was like, I would love to help you out. I was like, all right, then. Give me 3 minutes so I'll have your access to the account. Right. I couldn't wait. I was that excited. But yeah, it was a really interesting process for me, because you know, I thought, you know, we have all these different questions we get asked. It's going to take her years to be able to, you know, sort of start taking over all these different things. It's going to take so long for me to give it to her. And then when I went through my inbox, basically what I did is I just went through the process of just going back through and rereading a couple of hundred of the last emails that I had. And although they were all worded slightly differently, the same kind of 10 to 15 questions were being asked over and over and over and over again, in just slightly different ways. And I was like, right, well, I'm preparing for this new employee to start. You know, I think she was literally starting the next day, because I was so excited that she was up for it. That what I did is I basically created, and in fact, I might share my screen because I've probably got it here to show you. I created a sheet of the most commonly asked questions in my inbox. So in fact, I'm going to pull this up and share it, because it's always easier to show rather than tell. And I think manage Sarah's inbox. I'm going to see if I can find it and then share my screen with you when it comes up.
I didn't realize this was the perfect timing to talk to you about this subject, Sarah. This is just after you've done it. So
I know, right? So here we go. Let's do a share screen and pull this up here. So Hopefully you can see my screen up here now. So what I actually did is I created task 193, manage Sarah's email inbox, which is awesome.
193? What is that? Is there 192 that before this, or?
There are 192 tasks before this, and there's about
Fantastic.
300 other tasks after this as well.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
And so here we've got the main goals. Your goal is to answer all customers' inquiries, questions in less than 24 hours and to make everyone feel like the most loved, supported, special VIP ever. So then what I did is I've just put down here common email queries. The common question or query and the ref response to give. So I went in and prepared this. I went through my inbox, went through about 200 to 300 emails, and I got them to, and I wrote down, you know, the different variations of the same question, and I pre-prepared an answer for her to go in and then copy and paste. So most of them are, you know, which one of your things should I go for? What's the difference between your offerings? You know, do I have to have this particular software? How do I work with you? Do I need these things to be able to work with you? So they were the same questions that just kept coming up over and over and over again. As you can see, there's over 22 A4 pages that I've created here and pre-filled in the answer so that when I took my PA on, I was actually in a position to hand it over so she can just copy and paste the management there.
Sarah, you are the ideal client. If we had clients who all did that, then it would certainly make your job easier. But it's funny because we step in and do basically what you just did, but we attempt to build that for people. So as you can imagine, a lot of those emails have already been answered in the past. So you can jump into the sent folder and usually extract basically what you just showed us, you know, the answers to the most common questions, build a knowledge base is what we call it, you know, a system for running someone else's inbox, someone else's business almost. And that I think is probably half the benefit, not just a human being replying to the messages, but a human being having built that knowledge base for you so that even if, you know, circumstances change, someone leaves, you always have that available for the next person to just take over. And if you sell your business one day, it's there running without you. So I think it's an amazing thing you did. But geez, it's taken a bit of time to put that together, I could imagine.
Oh, it did. But how many hours does it now save me for the rest of my life?
No doubt. Yeah.
A time saver. And what I found was really cool about doing that exercise actually was that you know, I realized that it was improving the quality of our responses and standardizing the responses to everyone, because, you know, sometimes you're sat at your computer, you're nice and focused, you're feeling nice and calm, and you do respond to that query really in depth and you put lots of information in there. And for me, particularly at that time, as I was transitioning and handing this over, you know, I literally had a newborn baby and a 3-year-old. And you know, so there were some days where I'm like baby on one boob, I've got kid in the other arm, I'm standing on Lego, I'm late for daycare. And, you know, I was trying to like voice type a quick reply to these emails that were it was just poorly put over. And now that I've taken the time to respond properly to these queries and they're now sat there, everyone gets the full proper sense-making response that enables them to make a decision as to whether they continue a conversation or, you know, preferably become a client. So it's really, I believe, helped me up my game by going through this process and thinking, like, this, you know, it might just be me in my spare room, but I'm running a business. I'm running a professional business and a professional service that I'm charging people for. It needs to be better. And doing this handing over of the inbox has definitely made that happen.
Oh, I love it. And I love the focus you are saying there. It's like your email deserves the attention of someone who is either calm enough, or not you, ideally in this case, that's their job, right? So they can sit there and, I hate to say it, be better than you at email in some ways, right? Because that's their job. They have the time. They're in your inbox every day. Sure, they can't replicate you in the sense of have all your experience at your core skill set, but they can certainly extract a lot of what you know from your information, from your existing email, maybe a few conversations with you to pull out any missing pieces. But then you've got a person who can, like you said, give the best reply, can follow up, can keep track, and be a sort of a version of you that is optimized for email. And that's kind of why what we do in Inbox Done exists, was to turn that into a service. But of course, like you, I went through this experience myself. And I think one of the best things for anyone who's kind of watching who does have an inbox now that is like 13,000, 15,000. We've seen over 100,000 for some people,
Oh my God.
which is crazy.
100,000.
Yeah, I mean, we have a promise to get you down to inbox zero, but I will give away a bit of a secret. We're not going to sit there and answer 100,000 emails because that would be ridiculous. But often what you can do is just archive everything but the most recent 100 emails, and then use that as a starting point. And of course, everything is archived, so it's in there. You can go in and search for something if you're missing it. But by having that starting point of maybe your most recent 100, you start building that database of what is most recent and current. But I went through this too. So when I hired my inbox managers, as we call them, what I did first was, even before I hired them, I just went into my inbox and I looked at what I had in there to do and asked myself, am I the best person to answer or handle every message in there? And I could go through and I would see, okay, this is a newsletter that can be put away to read once a month or once a week. This is a software update that should be for someone else to do the update. This is a customer query, but it's a basic question, how to find this resource, or do you sell this? I don't need to be the one doing that. And maybe like 1 out of 15, 20, 30 were like very unique questions that I might need to pop in and answer directly. But almost all of it could just be handed over to different, like one person who could then solve the problems for me, basically, that are generated by those emails. And when I did that, I was like, why haven't I done this sooner? Because I do spend most of my time in there. So after doing that, I realized, okay, I can bring someone in, I can create the knowledge base like you did. This is how to deal with all these common situations. Pass this on to the accountant, pass this on to the tech person, put this in this folder. Let's build a filter so that automatically goes to that folder, create some optimizations, some systems. And then of course the question, and this is why I asked you like how you felt about doing it. For me, it was like, can I trust someone else? Like, I'm worried I will lose potential customers, or they will screw up and, someone will ask for a refund where they may not have otherwise if it was me being there. So I remember going through that first handover and then carefully watching month 2 and month 3 as they replied. And it was funny. I started watching the replies and I went, actually, in most cases, they're doing a better job than I did, because like you said, this is their job. So they're replying much quicker than I did, with more detail than I did, and doing it multiple times. But in my back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not following up well enough. I know I'm dropping the ball and I'm potentially losing customers. So it was a real sense of relief, but then also a bit of excitement, because suddenly you wake up in the morning and email's not your job. So you can ask yourself, well, I can write that book I always wanted to write, or I can look for new marketing opportunities to grow what I'm doing, or I can go to the gym.
Make some money.
Yeah, all these other things you can do. So I think the change is huge, but for some reason, it's not the most common thing people think to outsource. I think there's a real bit of a roadblock with letting go of that part of their life.
Definitely. So. I'd love to actually hear, we've got some people on the stream. I'd love for you to just look at your phone right now and tell us, how many emails have you got in your inbox? I did this in my Facebook group the other day, and people were screenshotting, the little pop-up number on there. And I was like, I would literally have a heart attack if I had some of the numbers that these people have. For me, if I have over 25 emails in my inbox, I like literally have a nightmare. I can't sleep. I have to deal with it. So because I've just had the Christmas period, my husband's been working the whole of Christmas, I've had the kids home. I think I have 64 in my inbox at the moment. And this for me is like anxiety inducing panic.
Oh no. Where's your email manager? Are they not on there, or?
Well, they're all best. So she stayed on top of all of her work, and she keeps messaging me because I haven't replied to them yet.
So you're the one who's slowing it down, right?
That's it. Out of a few hundred emails, there might be sort of 2 or 3 that really only I can deal with, which is great, right? If you're taking away 97% of your work, it's well worth it. Also, we've got some people. Trisha has got 67,683 emails in your inbox. Get that girl a vodka. I would need a bottle to get through that.
Yeah, that is stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in that post-Christmas backlog at the moment, where I have very unusually over 60 emails in there, which for me is crazy. Trisha, it is extremely overwhelming when you kind of have that sense there. One of the things I love to do is, first of all, just go in and mass unsubscribe to the junk, because I imagine 60,000 of that might be junk, Trisha. There's a couple of tools out there that you can use. I came across one a while ago called unroll.me.
Unroll. Yeah.
And what it does is it Yeah. Basically, it's a free, for those of you who never heard of unroll.me, it's a free tool that allows you to connect your inbox to it, and it shows you all of the email lists that you're subscribed to. And you can just mass go unsubscribe, 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 all in like one big screen. So that might be a good start to just go out and clear it down. Obviously, don't unsubscribe from sarahcorden.com. But that's a good one. So what else, obviously this is what you help people do every single day. And I think the part that's really challenging for people is actually sitting down and getting those responses written up, which I think is one of the most valuable parts of your service, because we have so much going on. We're so distracted. I think having, the accountability of a manager to sit with and just finally get that done is so powerful. But what are the tips, for the people here that are messaging us right now saying they've got thousands and thousands, where should they start?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna do this yourself, you're obviously, it's a challenge because it is entirely up to you. So I always think the ultimate solution is the clone. You need that other person stepping in and doing it for you. But you certainly can make your life a little bit easier, like you said, with a tool like Unroll Me, and that starts to remove some of the emails. I'm a big fan of triage. I think this is one of the best things you can do, is to look at your inbox and create a triage system, or in other words, a prioritization system. So, right now there's an 80-20 rule. There'll be a certain number of emails that actually do matter. Like they might be a potential customer, a current customer, potential partner for a marketing thing, and a massive opportunity for exposure, or, new sales or whatever. So, that's number one. That needs to be answered today as soon as possible. But then if you go down, there's a bunch of emails that maybe you need to reply to, but hey, once a week is fine. And then there's probably the majority that need to be put somewhere where you can scan through. If you want to open up a newsletter and read that one, great. Open up Sarah's, read hers. But everything else, you just can put it away, not worrying about it. So you don't see it in the inbox as something to get rid of. And I think filters is one of the simplest solutions for doing that. You can create some rules where all the newsletters go into a folder. And we actually do this for one of our clients. He was like, I never want to go into my inbox ever again. So I went out completely, but I don't want to not... but I don't want to lose touch with my industry. And I get a lot of content from some people I follow, like he follows his own mentors like you are, Sarah, and he doesn't want to lose that content. So what we do is actually create a summary. So throughout the week, newsletters come in, we put them into a folder, and we grab them, stick it into one document, and we drop that into a Slack chat for him. And he'll just, once a week, he'll just read through that, skim it, take the notes out of what he cares about. He never has to go into the inbox and feel that sense of, this is what I have to do. So that's one of the ways. And you could do that as well, put everything into that newsletter folder. I used to have like a Yaro urgent folder, a Yaro to read folder, and then like a newsletter folder. And that was what I did before I had a human being step in and actually start replying and organizing for me. I think one of the other things to do is folders are a bit of a trick. I think a lot of people know how to make a folder or a label in Gmail, but often what you'll do is you'll start creating lots and lots of these labels and folders. And it kind of feels good to move an email into them like it's going away, but you end up getting 20, 30, 40 of these that you never go back into again. And then it becomes as big a mess as the actual inbox. So often reducing the number of folders and labels to only the set, maybe 5, maybe 10 that you're actually going to use on a regular basis. And if something doesn't fit into those folders, you got to ask yourself, is that email actually important? Maybe that is to be unsubscribed from. You don't need to be getting every single email that comes at you. So that's where I'd start. Triage, filtering folders. All email clients have that as a function. We also use Yesware. There's a few tools like that. It's a plugin for Gmail. This gives you more ability for doing templates and canned responses. So we usually use it for most of our clients as well, because it allows us to really come up with some robust knowledge base, so that, question comes in, find the template reply, bring it in, customize it, tailor it to that person, then send the message. So it kind of puts a system in place that's more advanced than the built-in templating system of, say, Gmail or Outlook. So we like Yesware as well.
Yeah, love those tools. And I mentioned that canned response thing there as well, Aaron, because I think that was something for me that really started to change the amount of time I was spending replying to emails. I don't think a lot of people are aware that you can do it in Gmail. So basically a canned response, for those of you who've never heard of this before, is when you pre-write sort of a templated reply. Let's say you kind of get the same question come up a lot. You can pre-write a reply and save it inside your Gmail as a canned response. Again, I'll do another quick screen share here with you, just so everyone can check out what we mean here. So I'll just pop into my Gmail. So from Gmail, I'm messaging from my company domain. Let's say I'm creating a new email here. Down at the very bottom of your email area, you have 3 little dots, and you can click on templates. And you can see here, I've got all of my different templates in here. So these are all preset. Here's an old quote one. It pre-fills it now. It even pre-fills the subject area, and it pre-fills the whole entire email. So as you can see, again, really powerful ways for you to just quickly save time. That would have taken me 5 minutes to reply to, but canned response, boom, done in seconds.
Yeah, I love them. I think that's probably the best thing you can start doing from day one, if you're doing it yourself, for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Well, this is, I'm loving the tips in here. And I hand over my inbox. So you've mentioned some of the services that you guys provide, but I see that your name's at the bottom of the screen there. So if you guys want to just go to inboxdone.com and get in touch with the man himself, I'm sure that they have a very automated way of helping you find out what you need to do.
Yeah, you'd actually jump on a phone call with me if you want to do a discovery call, if you're in the right situation to bring on an inbox manager. Some of the things I think worth mentioning, because for me, this was one of the failures I felt in my own businesses over the years, was before I had someone else doing it, was the sense of, I have someone email in requesting a refund or a cancellation, and I'd be like, I feel like I could convince them to stay if I just could spend some time with them, answer their questions, find out what's blocking them. And often that would take some emails back and forward. But if I have 10 of those coming in, plus all the other emails, I just really couldn't do a good job of doing that. And on the flip side, you might have someone come in asking a question about a product, and they're almost ready to buy, but they have one question, or they need to have a little bit of a dialogue back and forward, or maybe you need to follow up with them. 5 emails over 2 weeks might be enough to bring them over the line. And again, I felt like I was dropping the ball doing that process. So if that's you, it's one of these kind of situations where you can basically get the service for free, because your inbox manager steps in. They save cancellations. Those people stay customers. They chase up potential customers and bring them in for you, so you're making money. So if you're feeling that way, I think that's one of the best reasons to bring on an inbox manager, because it actually helps to grow your business. So I know that was a stress point for me, and it's a stress point for anyone succeeding. Really, it just gets bigger and bigger job over time.
Yeah, and that definitely, I can see that myself. In the last few months alone, we've got well over 60,000 new students or something along those lines in the last 12 months, purely because I have been able to move away from doing that daily tedious admin and actually move into being here, being present with people, being able to create new courses that I can sell and make money from, being able to create new information products that I can sell and make money from, being able to be here in my communities and share information and have these conversations. Yeah. And that is the difference. I think you free yourself from that prison, that little cave where you're like, and actually come out into the daylight where people can see you and hear you and experience you and go, wow, I want to buy from you. It's completely revolutionary. And I think, like you said at the very beginning of this call, people really underestimate the power of releasing yourself from your inbox. So
you just relax it. I'm also a big fan of handing over social media direct messaging, because I think a lot of people are getting their new email as an Instagram DM or a Twitter DM or a Facebook DM. So I'm sure you get a lot through there as well. So, wherever your customers or potential customers are, you can put this person in front and just offer better customer service. So, it's not for anyone. If you're just brand new, you're just focusing on getting your first customers, right? But if you're already succeeding, you're kind of a victim of your own success. I think it's one of the best things you can do for like mental freedom, like you said, just to take a step back and go, okay, not every single job in this business is my responsibility anymore. So I never look back. I actually handed over my email 12 years ago with that editing and proofreading company. When I got into blogging and podcasting, I immediately had someone take over email as soon as I had the cash flow for it. So I just haven't had the feeling of an inbox that's calling my name, creating that stress all the time. So I can't go back. It's like flying first class. Once you do that, you know, coach never feels the same. So.
That's so true. I love that. So
Yeah.
we've got Trisha said, such valuable information. I'm so overwhelmed. I can't look at it. It freaks me out. Trisha, if I was in your situation, which I was at one point, I think the first thing for you to do is just go and delete all the junk. For me, I found the easiest way to do that is to reorganize the inbox from A to Z, because then you can have, you know, you might have 500 of those messages are just Facebook notifications, and you can just mass highlight and mass delete in one go. So I personally go A to Z and then mass delete from each certain providers, and then go and unsubscribe so you don't get any more of those ones come in, and then start going through and seeing, is there anything you actually need to reply to? If you don't need to reply to it, just archive, and hopefully out of that 67,000 there might only be 10 or 20 that you actually need to deal with today.
I mean, you could just go select all and click archive if you're really brave. You know, if it's really important, they'll email you again. You know, it's one of those things that gets you to inbox zero straight away. It's a, you know, it's a risky one, but it's sometimes a good way to start.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to start from scratch and clean things up.
Blow the place up.
It's been amazing to chat with you about this today, and of course to catch up after so long of not seeing you. Thank you for the tips. We've had lots of comments already popping up in the thread here, just saying thank you, really helpful. So that's awesome. And of course, go to inboxdone.com if you would like to have a chat with Yaro and his team about handing over your inbox to somebody. If not, maybe your to-do list today is to get into that inbox, give it a clean up, and see if you can get down to zero. If you do, I'd love to hear the number you started with in the comments in your inbox, and when you get to zero, screenshot that beautiful empty page and share it with us in the comments area. It's a very good feeling. Love it. Thank you, Yaro.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for having me, and good luck with those 60,000 new students. That's you've got a big job ahead of you.
Love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. Beautiful. All right, guys. And if you would like any tips about creating content, building your online business, don't forget to grab your free course creation starter kit at sarahcoordinate.com/starter kit. And that will help you learn how to take your knowledge out of your head, turn it into a digital product so that you can help people and make money on autopilot. And we'll see you again real soon for more lovely guests like Yaro that way and lots more tips like this. But see you soon, and bye for now.